Hello. We are doing page 106 in your science book, Light and Color.
Oh, wow.
It's actually quite interesting.
What's light and color?
You got a few homework questions you'll see. I'll put those out there in your classwork so you'll find those. And this is pretty interesting stuff. It can be a little mind-boggling, but it is interesting. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start talking. If you're still writing, that's okay. They didn't print our questions off for us, and so they haven't. I put them on the board, so they're having to jot the questions down, which for some of them is probably the most work they've done all year.
Probably.
I'm kidding, of course.
Are you
Not really. Nah. The disc we made on Thursday. How many of you got that to, when you spun it, you actually got it to the colors to turn white?
I did.
Yeah, quite a few of you did. Well, today we're going to kind of explain why that happened and how that happens, okay? So that was a pretty cool little experiment that you did, okay? So I'm going to start on page 106. It was hard work, but you finally finished. You stand back to admire your work. Color is everywhere. The bright green grass rose right up to the flower garden that you just weeded. I thought when I first read this the first time, I thought they would paint this beautiful picture or something, and we find out they're weeding a garden. But it is beautiful if you have all those colors, okay? In the bright sunlight, you see patches of yellow daffodils, purple hibiscus, and red tulips. The sun's light allows you to see each color, but sunlight is white light. So what makes each flower appears to be a different color? You ever thought about that? Yeah. No, most people don't. You're just like, boy, that's pretty. You don't think about why. Okay? To understand why objects have different colors, you need to know how light can interact with an object. When light strikes an object, the light can be reflected, transmitted, or absorbed. Okay? Think about a pair of sunglasses. You hold the sunglasses in your hand, you can see light that reflects off the lenses. If you put that sunglasses on, you can see that it is transmitted by the light that is transmitted by the lens. The lens also absorbs some of the light. Okay, that is why objects appears darker when seen through the lenses. Lenses, like all objects, are made of one or more material. Most material can be classified as transparent, translucent, or opaque, based on what happens when the light strikes it. Yes, Leo?
I'm not trying to be like one of those grammar nerds.
Well, then why are you?
Because it says a light transmit, not if it transmits.
It's in the book. I'm not going to be a grammar nerd, but you got a, and it should be an.
An actual trend.
But he's not a grammar nerd. He's getting me back because he forgot to put his name on a test that I did a whole 5-minute routine about putting your name on your test. I'm just kidding.
I'll take responsibility.
And I'll take responsibility for that, but you know what? You know what it means. It's not a trick. I've spent 3 quarters explaining to y'all. Okay? Yeah, if I leave off the apostrophe, an S off of the end of a word, I'm not trying to trick you. I just forgot to put the stinking S on the end of the word, okay? It's right out of your book. Just, you know, come on, people. There's no tricks here. Okay? All right, transparent materials. A transparent material transmits most of the light that strikes it. That looks like number 1. I'm just saying, it appears to be number 1. That would be transparent materials.
Well, that means nothing.
Yeah, the funny part is people aren't writing it down. Okay. The light passes right through without being scattered. This allows you to see clearly what is on the other side. Clear glass, water, and air are all transparent materials. And if you look at the bottom of the page there on 107, you will see how you can see the straw where it says transparent. You can see the straw very clearly down through the glass, right? Now, you move on to translucent, and a translucent material scatters light as it passes through.
Translucent.
That's translucent, okay? You can usually see something behind a translucent object, but the details are a little blurred, okay? Wax paper, frosted glass.
Isn't that like where
Some of these windows that we have that you can't actually see through them that clearly, but if someone was actually standing on the other side, you could make out someone was standing there. It would be hard pressed to tell who it was sometimes, but you can actually see through it, but it's not as clear. Okay, that's translucent. And if you look at the straw, and we're down here on 107 again, where it says translucent, you can see the straw, but not as clearly. Okay, you can see it, but it's not as clear. Okay. Opaque material reflects or absorbs all of the light that strikes it.
That's the answer.
So it either reflects it or it absorbs all of it. Okay? You cannot see through opaque materials because light cannot pass through them. Wood, metals, tightly woven fabrics are all opaque materials. You cannot see the straw if you look down there. You can't see the straw in that glass, okay? That glass is opaque. You can't see through it. Okay? Now, this is where it really starts to get pretty interesting. On page 108, if you know how light interacts with objects, you can explain why objects such as flowers have different colors. The color of any object depends on the material the object is made of and the color of light striking that object. Okay? The color of opaque objects, okay? The color of an opaque object depends on the wavelength of light that the object reflects. Okay? Every opaque object absorbs some wavelengths of light and reflects others. The color of an opaque object is the color of the light it reflects. For example, and if you look up here on page 108, if you look at that apple, the apple appears red if it's got that red around it there, okay? Because it absorbs all the colors except red, and it reflects the red light. The leaves absorbs all the colors except for the green. It reflects the green, okay? Miller's sweatshirt, which is nice and red, what colors are it absorbing?
Yellow.
All of them, except
Except for
for red. It's reflecting the red light. That's why that is red. Okay? Okay? Okay. Now, yes, I am. The apple appears red because it reflects red wavelengths of light. The apple absorbs the other colors of light. The leaf looks green because it's reflecting green light, okay, and absorbing the other. Objects can appear to change color if you view them in a different color of light, though. If in red light, the apple appears red because there is red light to reflect. But the leaves appears black. If you put it nothing but red light, the apple will still appear red because it's got the red light to be able to reflect. But the leaves looks black because there's no green light. it has nothing to reflect. If you put it in green light, the apple will appear black, the leaves will appear green because they have the green light to reflect. If you put them in both of them in a blue light, then all you see is basically a silhouette. Everything is black because it does not reflect blue light. It absorbs it. Okay? I think I'm the only one that finds this interesting.
No.
Because the rest of us don't think we need to know anything. We just look at stuff, we just spend our whole life looking at things going, pretty. But we don't need to know why it's pretty. And if pressed on it, we'll just go, because that's what God wanted.
I mean, that's not false.
It's not false. But God also gave you a brain so that you could learn
Really?
and know stuff. But we forget that. Okay? Color of transparent and translucent objects. Materials that are transparent or translucent allows only certain colors of light to pass through them. They reflect or absorb the other colors. The colors of transparent or translucent objects is the color of the light it transmits. For example, when white light shines through a transparent blue glass, the glass appears blue because it transmits blue light. Okay? Transparent or translucent materials are used to make colors filters. For example, a piece of glass or plastic that allows only red light to pass through is a red color filter. Okay? And when you look at an object through that, anything that would reflect red is going to appear red. Anything that doesn't reflect red is going to appear black.
Oh.
Okay? The lens in sunglasses are often colored filters. Okay? For example, lenses that are tinted yellow are yellow filters. Lenses that are tinted green are green filters. And if you've ever put on different colored glasses, you will notice they do change the way you can see. Okay? Shooters will use the yellow tints glasses a lot of the time because it really makes it easier to see. They're now doing that driving. Your sunglasses are for driving a lot of times. They're more yellow tint because it makes things more clear. So, when you look at an object through a color filter, the color of that object may appear different than when you see the object in white light. The color you see depends on the color of the filter and on the color that object appears in white light. Combining colors, this is really pretty cool right here. Color is used in painting, photography, theater, lighting, and printing. People who work with colors must learn how to produce a wide range of colors using just a few basic colors. 3 colors that can combine to make any other colors are called primary colors. Okay? They're primary colors. The 2 primary colors combined in equal amounts will produce a secondary
How do you know that?
color.
I pay attention in art,
Okay?
and it's interesting.
Mixing colors of light.
Yeah, no.
The primary color of light are red, green, and blue. When combined in equal amounts, the 3 primary colors will produce white light. So if you actually took a red, green, and blue filter and you combined them and you shined the light through them as equal portions, the light would actually come through and appear white. Because they combine, they will make white light. It's pretty cool when you think about that. Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Is that like the same way it works with like the thing you did?
Mhm. It is. Exactly why the wheel turns white. Okay? All right. A primary and secondary color can combine to make white light. Any 2 colors that combine to form white light are called complementary colors. Okay? Complementary colors.
Yellow and blue are not.
Yellow and blue are complementary colors, so are cyanide and red, magenta and green. A color TV, this is pretty interesting too. Produces many colors using only the primary colors. So it only produces red, green, and blue. But you think of all the colors that you can see on your TV. Okay, but it only produces red, green, and blue. But the way it works is the pictures in the screen is made up of little groups of red, green, and blue light. By varying the brightness of each colored bar, the television can produce thousands of different colors.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing. And that's pretty. So we have learned to manipulate things and make it work.
Like people say we haven't gone that much into like technology and stuff, and we
But-
barely scratched the surface.
Oh, I read a thing the other day where it said the reason that, not necessarily your generation, but the one next to you, the reason they're so distraught over the state of the world is they've never known progress. I'm like, that's because everything was here when you were born and it was handed to you.
On a silver line.
Come back to when my age, when I was a kid, you would be stinking amazed at how far we've come in the last 60-some years. Okay? And you will continue to grow. Okay?
I don't think a lot of us can really help it though, because like we're kids.
No, you can help it. You can be appreciative of what you have instead of going, oh, we don't really understand growth.
Yeah, because
How about this? Here, what? Get a shovel, go out and dig some holes. You will appreciate. You will appreciate not having to do manual labor. Leo, I don't care. Mixing pigments. How does a printer produce the many shades of color you see in this textbook? Ink, paints, and dyes contain pigments or color substances that are used to color other materials. Pigments absorb some colors and reflects others. If you've ever gone with your parents, they wanted maybe to paint a room in the house a different color or whatever. They go into a paint store, they come out with a base coat of white. It's a white coating, okay? Then they take the little machine and they add different colors to it, depending on what color you want. And then they mix it, and it becomes that color because the white absorbs all those colors and blends them, and it will become whatever color it is that you want it. Okay? They don't just make every color and they go back and get a can and bring it and set it on the counter. Okay? They actually mix it. And it's because they have learned how to mix all the colors, and it takes certain amounts. Some colors will take, this much of red and this much of yellow or something of that nature in order to make what you want. Okay?
And some colors will take this much of red.
Mixing colors of pigments is different from mixing colors of light. As pigments are added together, fewer colors of light are reflected, more are absorbed. The more pigments that are combined, the darker the mixture looks. Cyanine, yellow, and magenta are primary colors of pigments. Okay? These colors combine in equal amounts to produce black. By combining pigments in varying amounts, you can produce many other colors. If you combine two primary colors of pigments, you get a secondary color. Okay? And the secondary color of pigment are red, green, and blue. So the primary colors become secondary when you're dealing with the pigment. Okay? Okay, there's 20 minutes of your life that you're never going to get back. Now you know how I feel. Okay, just kidding, of course. Although I am on countdown. Bye.